Okay, everyone, it's time for Hirus Q and A, number 51. The number doesn't matter. They don't really go into each other. Although, I don't know, I might put the number in the title. Should I call this the Azeroth Weather Channel Q and A? No, that's stupid. I just moved him over here. Basically, the Azeroth Weather Channel is where I put all of my videos that don't fit on the main channel anymore, because I just want those to be highly scripted and highly edited stuff, which a Q&A doesn't really fit. They also got very low views over there anyway, and the fact that I continue to do them is more of a testament that I like to do these, and less the fact that I do it for the views. I don't know why I'm saying this here. Basically, I'm doing this one as a not a live Q&A. So, in the Q&A, I'll be answering questions from last time, and that's basically it. So, last time I did 2 Q&As. I did a Q&A, and then I did a Blizzcon thing, where I basically just talked about Blizzcon, and I kind of titled it as a Q&A. So I'm just going to answer questions from both of those. There wasn't a lot, even with the 2 videos together, so nothing too spicy. Question number 1. Where have all the videos gone? I care. These are great podcasts for me to listen to while at work. Where have all the videos gone? Okay, so I wrote this down. I'm pretty sure I had a question for this already in mind. I just kind of forgot. I still make the news videos. So there was a couple of news series I wanted to start on the Azeroth Weather Channel, and those have been kind of put on hiatus for a little bit, and that's because I hired a new editor, and this new editor works really fast. So I've been spending a lot of the time that I usually spent screwing around on the Azeroth Weather Channel, making videos that aren't monetized, and instead I was using that time to do actual work, I guess. I just haven't had the free time I usually have. So, like, if I ever don't have free time, the first thing I do is cut making videos from the Azeroth Weather Channel, because I do those for fun, and I can't really prioritize that time to doing the Azeroth Weather Channel videos, which include the discussion topics, and then the 2 new ones that I still want to continue. The lore videos, the lore reader tales, and also the one where I do a video about various references in WoW. Because the reason I want to do that one is because, you know, that's kind of like a sneaky little thing. I'm doing those WoW references videos so that I can eventually compile them together for a real video on the main channel. And the first one was a test pilot, one that failed very heavily. People really didn't like the video. So I guess that's a good thing I decided to try out the facts first on this channel to get the incredible negative feedback out of the way so that I can fix it. And, you know, basically in the video, I stressed that, you know, one of the things was a reference to an anime, and people were like, no, that's stupid. It makes no sense. And I was like, no, you guys are stupid, but I can see that I can't convince you guys, so I should probably remove it. And the lore reader tale things, I actually started working on one, and I was halfway through it. And as I was reading the script, I scrolled down a little bit, and I was like, oh shit, this is super long, and it's not that interesting. Never mind, I'm done with this. So I just scrapped it. And then I haven't gotten around to making another one because I've been busy with other stuff. So, you know, they're not abandoned. If they were abandoned, I would say so. I do abandon series all the time. These ones aren't. I do plan on working on them. I just haven't had the time recently. So I should be able to go back to them. Also, another thing. The reason the Q&As have been live recently, and this one isn't, is because it makes it easier to edit. Like, the Q&A videos, they're very light on editing. I don't really have to edit the audio unless my dogs bark in the background. And that's about it. So doing them live saves me a lot of time. However, having to talk to chat really ruins it. So I found a way, if I just do it live, but I unlist the stream, that solves that. So that's basically what I'm going to do from now on. Because the thing with the Q&As is they're kind of long, and they don't require a lot of editing, but the render times are still the same. Like, rendering an hour-long video takes like 2 to 4 hours. And that's 2 to 4 hours in which I can't do anything else on the computer. And that's 2 to 4 hours of work, or time that could be spent rendering something else. So it's incredibly obtrusive. I don't know if that's the right word for it. It gets in the way. If I have to render out the Q&A videos, it is a big inconvenience, and it directly hampers me working on other more important projects. So being able to do it live as a live stream, and then just putting the live stream to public, saves me from having to render it and then upload it, because uploading also takes a long time too. And while I'm uploading, the computer goes really slow for some reason. I don't know why it does that recently. It like really slows down the internet to a crawl whenever I'm uploading to YouTube. So live streaming both eliminates have to render the video, which takes a long time and is a huge inconvenience, and having to upload the video, which also takes a long time and is a big inconvenience. Which is reminding me, I need to upload a video of something else that's really long. And it's like, man, I need to like just budget out an hour of my time in which my computer is going to be unusable. It's like, oh, how about at night before I go to sleep? He's like, I don't know, because like there's, other important things I have to do as well. It's not like I don't sometimes leave my computer on to render other things. The rendering and uploading is a huge inconvenience, and being able to do it live solves that so well. Because I don't need to edit the video anyway. There's like no point to it. So being able to do it as a live stream and just setting it as public, it solves one of the biggest issues that goes into having to make the video. And it's so convenient that I was thinking of moving the discussion videos into the same format, where I just live stream it as an unlisted stream and then put it public, because it saves me from having to render and upload. And that's really convenient. And part of the reasons that I don't do these as often is because the rendering and uploads take too long, even if the videos themselves don't really have any editing in them. So, expect to see more of these. The only reason I'm not doing it now is because I can't really be live streaming at the moment. So, on to the next question. Here are taking shots at Masako X. I assume you meant to spell Hiru. Is taking shots at Masako X. Masako X is a YouTuber who makes Dragon Ball Z videos. And in one of the Q&As, I was talking about how I'm lucky I make videos about video games and card games that are ever changing. Because if I was making something about, one specific movie or TV show, I'd have to get really creative in the kinds of videos I have to make. And I gave some hilarious examples, which have been done on this particular YouTuber's channel. Because, if your channel is dedicated to just Dragon Ball Z, and you make videos basically every day, you're gonna run out of good topics real fast. So there's lots of like speculations and fan fictions on there. Not taking shots at him specifically. I've seen he doesn't go anywhere near as bad as some of the other Dragon Ball Z channels, because there are multiple of them. Surprisingly, I don't know how you can have a channel dedicated to Dragon Ball Z when it updates so infrequently, or just one anime in particular. But hey, it works for them, I guess. Whatever they gotta do to get it to work. Next question. This one starts off with, question, what's the channel that talks about why MMOs failed? It sounds very interesting. So, the channel which makes the videos on failed MMOs is called NS, just N.S. I think it stands for Nerd Slayer? I don't know. The name of the series is called Death of a Game. So just type in like death of a game and then yada yada yada. Like his channel, he makes good videos, although his channel is also like a really good example of why I have my Q and A's on this channel and not the main channel anymore. Because I was looking at his videos, and like in the past month, he's released 2 videos that are death of a game. One of them goes over Toontown, the other one goes over Resident Evil. And then he also released like 6 podcasts, which have about 50 times less views than the actual videos that he makes. It doesn't look good. Like, I think that's all the reason why I haven't subscribed to him, despite the fact that I like his videos, is because I don't want the podcast to show up in my feed all the time, and that's what he makes the most of. You know, hey, this is a good reason why I moved the Q&As to another channel, because I don't want to flood my subscribers with lowly edited videos, because that really like begs the whole, you know, assuming everybody loves my personality and wants to hear more about me. That's not very true. If there was like a contest to see who the most popular WoW YouTuber would be, you know, of all the ones that have a sizable channel, over 20,000 subscribers, I guess that's a good metric for it. They would probably leave me off the list because they probably forgot I exist. You know, that's the level of my popularity. So, you know, I have no inclinations, no dreams of grandeur. What's the word? I'm looking for a word. I don't think of myself as more important than I am, even if I do have a big ego. And that's why I still make these anyway, but I just put them on another channel where they're not going to bother the subscribers of the channel with all of the highly edited videos. And I think that's a good idea. I think other people should follow in it. And specifically, I think NS should follow that as well. Because I would totally subscribe to his channel if he moved the podcast to a different channel. Okay, so next question on here. What are your goals, as in what are you working so hard for? Do you have to save money and travel, buy a big house? Nope, I don't have goals. Goals are for people who have ambitions in life. I don't. I worked minimum wage for 5 years, and I had no intentions of finding a better job. I was in college, but not because I wanted to get a better job, but because I wanted to brag about the fact that I went to college. So I went for psychology. You don't go to school for psychology if you want to get a good job. You go to psychology if you like the field, or if you don't really care, like I do. I mean, I did like the field. That's more of the case of, I didn't really care what I went to school for, so I chose psychology because I liked it. And not because I had any dreams of getting a psychology job in the future. The fact that YouTube worked out while I was in college, you know, just kind of worked out for me as well. And as far as goals go, like, I do think to the future in terms of, like, video views. I make my videos with the intention that they'll be watched, like, 2 years from now. Consistently. I do make lots of evergreen videos, but I wouldn't really call that a goal. Do I want to travel? I don't like traveling. Do I want a big house? Nope. Do I want a family? No. I kind of like being by myself and alone. You see, this is why I worked a minimum wage job for 5 years. If YouTube ever doesn't work out, I can probably just go work at McDonald's, and I doubt my quality of life would really go down very much. Because even with, you know, having the 2 channels that do well, I don't really spend a lot of money on myself. Actually, what the hell do I know? I just don't really. Most of the money goes to paying the editors, I guess, because I do have 3 of them. So, next question. Since, you know, do you have goals? The answer is no. Blizzard. They already don't like me very much. What? Why? Okay, so this one is asking about my statement when I said Blizzard doesn't like me very much. That was more of a misspeak. You know, that was just kind of my feelings on the subject. I feel as if Blizzard doesn't like me, when I don't think that's really true. I don't think they dislike me. It's more like they probably don't know I exist, and if they do, they don't care, which is perfectly fine. Like, I'm a top 10 channel. I was actually thinking about this recently. I owe all my success of YouTube to my top 10 videos on both the WoW and Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I would not be successful if it wasn't for the top 10s. Like, I went through and looked at all my videos, and I do occasionally have a video that does well that's not a top 10, but those are more of like the exceptions to the rule. Like, if I look on other people's channels, you know, people who don't do top 10 videos, and they occasionally have videos that do very well, and they have a whole bunch of other ones that do about the same. My channel kind of looks like that if you remove the top 10s, because the top 10s consistently do so well that I don't really have to worry about my non-top 10 videos doing well, because they carry everything else. I am a top 10 creator, and everything else is kind of superfluous. You see, I read a lot. I know big words, but I can't say them because I'm stupid. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm a top 10 channel. Those don't have very good brand value. No one cares about that. You're not going to reach out to a top 10 channel and be like, hey, we like you. We want you to represent our brand. We love your clickbait listicle videos. Here, come to BlizzCon on our dime. We'll pay for your hotel room and let you, host a panel or something. No, that's not the kinds of things my channel gets. However, I do have somewhat friendly relations with Blizzard. They did get me into the WoW Alpha after I asked them to. Basically, Mad Season Show gave me an email I could email if I wanted to get into the Classic WoW Beta, and I emailed them, and they're like, sure, we'll add you to the list. And then when I asked them for a media pass this year, I asked them for one last year. Apparently I didn't ask them in the correct way, though. So I did it better this year, and they did give me one this year. I read my email incorrectly, though. I thought they had denied me again. Turns out that wasn't true. I was just stupid. I found out I had a media pass like 3 days before BlizzCon. So I was a little miffed about, not getting another one. That wasn't the truth. They actually did send me one. It was nice. Even though the badge didn't work. The wristband, the badge didn't work. They wouldn't let me into the media room, which had free snacks. So besides free snacks, it worked for everything else. The useful things like cutting lines and getting into the media section on panels. It was useful. I kind of wish I'd gotten to get some free snacks though. But instead I just got to pay for all the much better snacks at the concessions. So it wasn't a big deal. They don't dislike me. I can totally understand why they're not super enthusiastic about working with me, though. It makes total sense. That's all it was. I kind of misspoke with that, in the way that I was trying to get across my feelings, but I don't think I used the right words for it. So I really got to be more careful about that. It's easier just to say Blizzard doesn't like me, when that's not really true. They like me enough. They're just probably not enthusiastic about the channel, because it is a clickbait listicle channel. Okay, so next question is, show us your hands. So, if you wanted to see my hands, I made a BlizzCon video, in which I show my hands briefly in order to open a box. And I also have a couple of videos on my Yu-Gi-Oh channel where I open up packs, where you can also see my hands. And I have a couple of really early videos on the WoW channel, in which I use my hands for stuff. So, my hands are out there. There's also a picture of me out there now. Like, one of the fans I met at BlizzCon, we took a picture together. And then she posted it with a whole bunch of other YouTubers she took a picture with at BlizzCon. So, something out there exists now. I'm not going to direct you to it, but it exists on the internet. I did take pictures with a couple of fans at BlizzCon. So maybe more of them will show up. I'm kind of glad that more of them haven't, though. I specifically didn't tell any of them they couldn't post it, and if they asked, I said it was fine. Because, you know, if you're going to take pictures with someone, you're going to meet with people at BlizzCon, you know, you're not going to tell them no. You kind of, if you put yourself out there like that, you kind of have to let them do that. Otherwise, you know, why are you revealing yourself when they wouldn't know who you were in the first place? So, next question. What kind of gameplay mechanics would you like to be added to WoW? I don't know. Gameplay mechanics? I kind of wish I thought of questions before I started recording this, because I have no idea. I don't even know what this question's really asking, like gameplay, you know, like first-person shooter type thing? You know, action RPG stuff? I think the action in WoW is fine. You mean like actual gameplay things? More Mage Tower things. That would be neat, I guess. More solo content. That's what I do. Next question. Do you consider yourself everyone's 5th favorite Azeroth Weather Channel reporter? So, there's this thing I do on my Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel where when I record the custom card reviews, people will send me in custom Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and I just review them. In the video itself, I have this running joke where I'm the 5th best custom card reviewer because there are no other custom card reviewers, but if there were, I probably wouldn't be the first. It's a self-deprecating joke. It makes me very #relatable. And people seem to like it. So, would I consider myself the 5th favorite Azeroth Weather Channel reporter? See, here's the thing, like, in the World of Warcraft scene, when it comes to news videos, there's actual competition, and I don't think I would even make number 5. I'd probably be a little bit more down there. Alright, next question. What part of Warcraft 4 would you like to see expanded? I'm sure I have an answer to this, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I think Sylvanas, but, you know, they already give her enough lore. There's not too much more to explore. I guess more information on the Light Lords would be useful. You know, we know they exist, but we don't really know anything about them. But also, they could turn that into an entire expansion. So, you know, they could just do that later. I have been wanting to make more lore videos, too. Like, currently I have 2 that are done and ready to go. One of them is about why Sylvanas was able to beat Bolvar in the Shadowlands cinematic, and the other one is a video literally called In Defense of Nathanos. And I'd kind of want to do more, because I like how both of those scripts turned out. I don't imagine either of them will do very well. I'm pretty sure the Nathanos video will get dislike bombed. But also, you know, thanks to the top 10s, I don't have to care. I'm a top 10 YouTuber. So my non-top 10 stuff is irrelevant. Nobody gives a shit. So I can kind of do whatever I want. Next question. Have you ever played Diablo 1 and 2? I have not. I have played copious amounts of Diablo 3, though. And I love Diablo 3, so I can't wait for Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4. I should probably try Path of Exile. Like, I have tried it many times. I don't like the combat in the game. It just doesn't feel good. It's a really stupid reason, but that's the reason I have. Like, whenever I'm playing Diablo 3, and you, like, attack monsters and shit, you can really feel your abilities connecting with them. You know, your character feels like he's part of the world, and in Path of Exile, I just don't get that same feeling. It feels like the attacks have no weight, and they kind of just pass through mobs, and then they just kind of lose health and die. And it's like, maybe it's just the low-level abilities. Maybe it gets better at endgame. But I don't like the art style either. Everything else about it seems like I would totally love it, considering how much I love Diablo 3. I just don't like the art style or the feel of the combat, even though it's basically the same. Next question. Should Outland and Northrend be revamped in your opinion? I think that Outland especially should be. Sure, why not? I mean, they already kind of redid Outlands with Draenor. You know, a Northrend 2 would be pretty neat as well. I wouldn't be against it. I think I even made a video in the channel's early days called, like, you know, the next WoW expansion will be Wrath of the Lich King 2. And I made a joke about that video is really cringy. I watched it recently. And I went through it and I was like, man, I was so proud of this video when it came out and it didn't do very well. So I was kind of disappointed and I watched it again I was like, God, this video's bad. What was... oh my God. All my videos from the back in the day are bad. Every single one of them. Next question. I wonder how many who tried Classic have run back to retail. I've seen this a lot. On the WoW subreddit, lots of people are posting like, man, I came back to the game for Classic, and then I ended up falling in love with the retail. And I was like, yep, I knew this would happen. I said this a lot before Classic came out. Like, one of my strongest supports for Classic WoW being no changes. I really wanted no changes. I thought people complaining about some of the changes were kind of childish, but also I agreed with them ultimately that I wanted no changes at all. I wanted Classic to be as inconvenient as humanly possible, just like how it was back in the day, because I want them to be able to compare and contrast to how it works today. That way they can actually see, hey, some of these changes were done for a reason. Like, not everything is bad. I made a video talking about some of the good changes they made to the game. In a very positive light. I wasn't shitting on Vanilla WoW. I up-talked it as much as I could in the video, and the video itself got disliked like crazy. It has like half dislikes. The Classic WoW community can be crazy at times. But ultimately I agreed that I want no changes to the game, because I think a lot of the changes were for the better. So I love that people can experience Classic and then think, wow, lots of this shit sucks. I can't wait to go back on retail and play it with all the conveniences in place. It's so much better experience for the average gamer. So yeah, I totally saw that coming. And I'm just kind of glad that my initial bias was proven correct. I still enjoy Classic 2 in its own merits. I do enjoy retail more though, because I like the conveniences in place. But I do think Classic does have a few things over retail anyway. I think the leveling in Classic is better, just because it's more fun. The end game content and everything else in retail just kind of blows it out of the water. And the fact that I'm like a loner gamer, I think someone said this in one of my videos. In the video where I talked about how I like to play the game alone, and how I argue that WoW's a good single player game. He argued like, it's not a good single player game, you just enjoy to play it alone. Oh crap, I forgot how he worded it very well. I want to look it up real quick. Here it is. WoW as a single player game phrase is the problem. I would rather call it playing WoW alone. Like myself, there are lots of people playing alone, and the main reason is that I never had a friend who played WoW, or the few who did only played for raiding. They would log in, do the raid, log out. Sorry for all you elitists out there, but that is not fun. Yeah, it's, I guess I shouldn't say WoW is a good single player game. It's more of it's a game you can play alone and still have fun. I guess the phrasing of it is better. I think that would be, if I said I like to play WoW alone, that would probably get less people mad that I call it a single player game, because they're like, you're the people who ruin this. Whatever, I don't care. Like, I make YouTube videos for a living. I get negative comments literally every day, all the time. Those don't bother me. But I do like to word things in a way to get my message across. So being intentionally abrasive, saying things that piss people off, that's not really my goal. I want people to agree with me, so I'm willing to change the wording of what I have so I can get the meaning across. I don't think this is really the exact way to do it either, but I thought this was a really good comment, and I wanted to read it. So anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, I finished the question. Next question. Will you be able to touch on what you've learned from psychology a bit more? Also, to go a bit more into detail as to why making videos, doing things you like, e.g. WoW, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc. kind of ruins it? Okay, so this is 2 questions. First one, can you touch on what you've learned from psychology? I've learned a ton. There's so much. Like, where do I even start? It's like, what have you learned from playing WoW? I don't know. A lot. Like, where do you start? There's so much to psychology. You'd have to ask more specific questions. One big thing from psychology. A couple of big things. Shit, I don't even know where to really start. I'm not going to explain much about psychology, but I will give a little rundown about some things I found interesting. One of them is dreams. When I was in middle school, I was really into dreams. So I read lots of psychology books on them. Lots of researchers who did a whole bunch of tests and stuff. The books were really good, really interesting stuff, even though they were just basically talking about research that was done. And ultimately, it came down to that dreams are meaningless. They don't mean anything. Anyone who says they can get meaning from a dream is lying to you. However, occasionally, since dreams, feel so real when you're in them, they can have positive psychiatric effects. Sometimes people will have a dream of an estranged family member talking to them, and then they work things out, and when they wake up, they no longer feel resentment towards them. And, they'll no longer feel resentment towards them. It can just, sometimes help you out in a psychiatric sense, and I think that's pretty cool. The opposite can also happen. You can also have very upsetting dreams that give you anxiety. That's why nightmares are kind of a concern for some people. So dreams are interesting, even though they're ultimately meaningless. There's lots of interesting things about them. And there's also the whole fact that some people don't think psychology is real. Straight up. They just don't think it's a real thing. Kind of like astrology. The study of zodiac sign signals or whatever, made up bullshit like that. They assume psychology is in the same field, when it's not. But I think that's hilarious. And that's more because psychology is more of a soft science than it is a hard science. You can't really replicate psychological experiments with 100% degree accuracy like you can with formulas, math formulas or chemical formulas, where, getting them perfect every time is kind of a requirement of the job. That doesn't really work in psychology. You just kind of have to work with averages. Some things are more likely to work than others, but there's no guarantee. Because humans are complicated and everyone has their own little niches and things. And if you know enough about psychology, you can absolutely manipulate vulnerable people. So it can be kind of, dangerous. I'd assume lots of cult leaders are really good at psychology. Good at psychology, that's not a thing. They know a lot about it. So it's also really helpful if you just want to make friends too. There's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a really popular book. It's old too. It's very well known. Lots of people have read it. And the book is a highly suggest from me. I highly suggest everyone read it. The book is basically how to manipulate people without being an asshole. I think it's great. It really helps you if you don't know very much about social situations, or if you just want to learn more. Or if you just want to confirm your biases because you're already a social butterfly and you know all of the rules and little kinks to it. Great stuff. And then the other part of this question is, I think I said in one of the other ones that I'm a big fan of Diablo, and you'd probably never know it because I don't make videos about it. And the reason I don't make videos about Diablo is because I don't want to ruin it. Which obviously implies, since I have a World of Warcraft and Yu-Gi-Oh channel, that I've ruined those two things for myself, which is absolutely true. I've ruined WoW and Yu-Gi-Oh for myself because I make videos about them. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy them anymore. I just, here, let me explain it a little bit. So if I'm playing Diablo, I can just log in, play for a little bit, maybe get distracted by something else and get off and go do something else. Or I can log in and just play for 6 hours. I can just log in and do whatever I want and then leave. I could even go in and be idle for half an hour and then come back to it because I'm watching YouTube videos or stuff. When I go into World of Warcraft, though, I log in and do something. I think, should I be getting footage of this? What if I need footage of this for a video sometime in the future? Maybe I should be getting footage of this. And then if I get footage of this, I think, I shouldn't be taking breaks in this video because I don't want to ruin the footage if I end up using it in the future. So I tend to stay more focused on what I'm doing. And I have to play like zoomed in a little bit because that makes for better footage. And I am much more reluctant to take breaks or to cut it up. And I'll like push myself to play longer just so I can get to like the end of a quest chain or something. So I can get the footage. Whereas if I'm playing Diablo, I don't have to worry about any of that. I can just bow out whenever I want because I'm playing for fun. When you're playing it because you feel like you need to get footage for videos in the futures that you don't have any plans on making, it's not as fun. Especially every time new content comes out, I record all of it. And I just can't really enjoy a new expansion as much as I used to because I have to record everything. And there has, like, in Legion, when it started, I was like, I'm not going to record any of this. I'm just going to have fun because, I don't want to ruin it for me. And then I really regretted not getting that footage. I was like, God damn it. I don't have any of the artifact footage for the Priest Order Hall because I didn't record any of it. Or sometimes if I'm doing something else and I can't record, I think, damn it, I should probably stop playing for the day and just come back when I can record it. And then when it goes to like Yu-Gi-Oh as well, I'm playing the game, and I think, hey, this deck is a lot of fun, but it's not fun to watch. So I should probably stop playing it because my time would be better spent playing a deck that would be more fun to watch that I could later turn into a video. Or, I'm playing this deck and it's like, woo, this deck is a lot of fun. However, I have enough footage already. I don't need to play this deck anymore. So playing it anymore is a waste of time. I guess I'll just make a new deck then. Luckily, I like to make new decks all the time, so that's not really a huge issue. But there are times, where I'm just really trying out this niche strategy and it's not fun to watch. And I think I'm having a lot of fun playing this, but I should probably abandon this because it won't make a good video. And I don't have to think about those when I'm playing Hearthstone. I can just screw around for months on one deck. I remember I spent like 2 months trying to make like an egg hunter deck to work. And it eventually did work, and then I got bored of it immediately because it was really tedious to work. And then I started working on something else. And if that was a Yu-Gi-Oh thing, I would have given up after a couple days because it was too hard. And I can't spend that much time on one thing. Whereas on Hearthstone, I don't have to worry about that because I'm not making videos about it. I can just do whatever I want. That's kind of the thing. It doesn't ruin it like, oof, I hate playing it because I make videos about it. It ruins it it kind of constricts how I can play the game. So whenever I'm leveling in alt, and I already have footage of like everything, I actually have so much more fun. Because I know I don't need to get footage, and it actually makes it more fun for me. Because I don't like getting footage, and I'll be playing through like the war campaign, and I'm just like having a blast with it because I know I don't need to get footage of it. It's a weird thing. It feels like, I'm doing something wrong, and that's what makes it exciting. It's like, oof, I'm doing all of these things without getting footage of it. I'm such a naughty boy. I should be getting more footage, but I'm not because I don't need it, and this is lots of fun. So, that's why that's kind of how it's ruined for me. Technically speaking, definitely ruined, but not as bad as it probably implies. I don't hate the games. I just am restricted in how I can play them. Because if I decide not to get footage, if I decide to, not play the decks how I want to, then I regret it later. Because there's lots of times throughout like the 6 years I've been doing YouTube where I've just ignored that nagging feeling and just did whatever I want and had fun. And then a couple months later, I just regretted not getting all that footage because I needed it for a video I'm making, so I have to waste like a week getting that footage again. That's basically it. So, this is also the final question on the Q and A. Like I said earlier on in this video, I'm going to be doing these as a live stream. However, it's going to be an unlisted live stream, so I'm basically just going to be doing a Q and A like normal. but it will show the video as if it was a live stream, even though I'm not actually doing it live. I know some people won't watch the video because they think it's a stream VOD, even though it's not. It's literally just a Q&A and a very convenient way to do it, since that saves me having to render and upload it. But that's how they're going to be from now on. These don't get a lot of views anyway, so it's not a big deal. I'm obviously not doing these for money. So, if you have any questions for next time, just leave them as a comment to this video, and I might answer them. Until next time, everyone's fifth favorite Azeroth weather channel signing out. I don't have an outro.